Hello and welcome to Watercooler for June 5th, 2020. At least that's when we're recording it. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is a show where I, Chris Loxamana, hang out with my Corolla Digital buds, drink some brews, and kick it Philly style. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
With me
Cheers.
today, we got the Chi 3 here. Gary Smith's in the house.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? What's up? But before Gary signed on, we did have the Pooh 2, and that was me and Matt Fondiler.
Hey, Ho Spice.
Hey, is that my Spice Girl name, Ho Spice?
It's good.
You guys got into the Spice Girls?
I mean, my little sister was the key demographic for that band. So, did I have a favorite Spice Girl? Yes. Did
Yeah.
I see Spice World in the movie theaters? Yes. But all
So
of
did I.
it is because I have a little sister who, for some reason, always wanted to be Sporty Spice, which never made any sense to me.
Yeah.
Obviously, Posh is the best one. We all know that. But, yes, to answer your question.
Well,
Oh, go ahead, Gary.
while I agree with Matt that Posh was obviously the number one, Sporty Spice back in the day ranked 4 or 5 for me. Damn it. But I've since gone back and looked at pictures. Sporty Spice might be number 2. She was a
Ooh.
good-looking girl.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. I'm trying to find the pics from back. Sporty Spice is very, very pretty. I mean, they were all very pretty. I don't know. As a kid, of course Posh Spice was easily just the hot. She's like, okay, you're the hot one. We get it. But which one did I want to be my girlfriend when I was 10 years old?
Gee, let me guess.
Oh, are you really gonna guess?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, the redhead. Come on. If you don't say that, you're in big trouble, bro.
Yeah, totally. It's the redhead. Gary Glasses is back. No. Gary put on his sunglasses and just leaning far from the mic.
Obviously,
I don't
it's
want
got
any
to
part
be
of this.
Ginger Spice, Chris. Come on.
I don't want any part of this. Chris's wedding just moved back another year.
This was a mistake. No, I actually liked the Baby Spice at the time. I don't know. I was just like, oh,
Yeah?
this is cute. When two become one, that music video, I thought Baby
Sure.
Spice is very cute. But I think that
Yeah,
was,
that's true. They also, I forgot too, the music videos too. That was also just right in that TRL era that all three of us, who are all within about a year of each other, every day after school watching music videos. That was just what you did. So the Spice
Who was
Girls were
Nerdy
just
Spice down in the
thrown at
corner of
you.
that last picture?
yeah, we're looking at pictures. It's obviously the
Is that
author of
Sarah
the article.
Koenig? What's happening? Yeah.
We've Googled it. I can't control what's about to pop up on the screen. Yeah, I had a younger cousin, female, that 2 years younger than me. Yeah, right in the demo. Loved Spice Girls, and I just through association, I knew everything about the Spice Girls, and well, not knew everything, but I was very familiar with them and who each one was. And of course, if you want to be my lover, still holds up as just that nostalgic. If it ever comes on and you're in a group with people your age, you're gonna dance, you're gonna be into it, you're gonna sa 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 sa. Just sing along and have a good time. And it was
I
really
agree.
that era, and I think it's great that us three are here because we are this like as much as I love Caelan and Dawson, they both feel they're light years away from our generation of what
Yeah.
we grew up with VH1 and MTV and all the
hmm
music videos. I mean, I'll admit it. I had a huge Hanson phase, and I know as a guy that's kind of weird, but I did like
Yeah, it is. That's pretty weird. But keep talking.
I really, really liked Hanson. They were probably one of the first bands that I just was like, I love every song on this record. It was called
Yeah.
Middle of Nowhere, and
Nice.
I'm not afraid to admit it. I would watch their music video. I would just keep my remote on VH1 and MTV, and you go to MTV, then you would enter VH1. MTV was 48, Matt. You probably know this already. I don't know why I'm telling you. And then
I always thought it was 47, but maybe
Let's Let's go to
Maybe
the
things
poem.
changed.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
go to
should. Let's go to the book.
aka TV Guide. And then, but for me, VH1 was 42, MTV was 48, so I'd go to 48, then enter 42, and then just by clicking the last button, it would just
Oh,
go,
yeah.
it would just pop it back and forth until I hit a video that I liked or something I'd like. And yeah, Hanson was a popular one. Obviously, all the boy band craze was really big, and Spice Girls and all that '90s nostalgic rock. Savage Garden, which once again was the name of my adult recreational basketball team a few years back, for a few years as well. And I miss all that. Like, obviously, music videos. There aren't stations that play just straight up music videos and you don't just sit and watch it. I don't know if it's our attention span that's different or just the better programming that is out there. But I miss it. And I know a music video director who's directed major music videos for Rihanna, Britney Spears. And I remember asking, like, so it must be a lot different now that MTV and playing music videos on TV is dead. And he said, no, it's actually a lot better. This is as big as it gets for music videos, which is weird because I don't watch music videos, but because of YouTube and everybody can just watch it on demand, it actually is just a lot more notable. But I don't know any of the music videos for any of the songs today, so I don't know if
I
they're
was
as
thinking
iconic
of
as they were.
I was thinking about that too. And what I realized is it's because we're not cued in with the popular music anymore. I mean, maybe
Ugh,
I'm just speaking for myself,
Yeah.
but
No, we're old, but I mean, if you think about it, there are certain music videos that even will permeate our age and stuff. I mean, This Is America comes to mind.
of
Like,
course.
that
Yeah.
is a music video that pretty much everyone has seen, right? And that song's having a huge renaissance right now because it's so pertinent to what's going on in the world and all that. But yeah, I mean, I think that I'm not surprised to hear that it's the salad days for music videos, because the other part about it is now you don't have to worry about what's in the music video. Like, there must have been a lot of artistic constraints in, I want this on a TV show that's going to then have a Coke ad 5 minutes later.
Mm. It's all different, but I mean, I obviously I don't have my finger on the pulse of all the music, just the dating apps, right, Gary? But I don't, as far as like the new music, I don't really. Yeah, I don't know if that bothers me. It does bother me. It does. I do know, and it does bother me that I don't. But because
well,
of
I
how
guess,
obsessed I was with music videos back then,
yeah,
it's
I
it's
feel
weird, and I
kind of
didn't
the
get them on
same
demand.
way. I
Did you
can
guys ever
think too,
watch?
though. I was just going to say real quick that other bands that I do like currently that I know are putting out music videos, I don't seek them out.
Me neither.
Like, so I guess
You,
it's really just also probably a part of being older is we're also just not seeking them out as much. Although I will say, because of YouTube and the YouTube playlists, my wife and I have had many a fun time just watching playlists of old music videos. Like, I've talked on the show about how we'll push the couch back and watch old concerts, but watching like a 90s music playlist where they put up like 300 videos, you're not going to get through all of them. And for the 2 hours that you're watching it, though, it's a total throwback. And I would suggest that to anybody of any era, because you can just YouTube any era of music videos, and people have compiled a lot of nostalgic playlists, no matter
Yeah,
what your desire is.
I agree. And Matt, what is just from that era of when you were obsessed with music videos? What is the first one that comes to your mind right now?
Oh, Jesus Christ. The first one that just popped into my head for some reason was Marcy Playground, Sex and
Sex and
Candy.
Candy, where his
And I
head
don't
is
know,
in his
in the little
head is
flower or
yeah
whatever.
coming out of the ground.
Yeah, that just popped into my head.
I
Um,
love that song.
it's a great
I'm
song.
also, you got to give Weird Al credit where credit's due. The Smells Like Nirvana music video is just as iconic as the Smells Like Teen Spirit video. I can't see one without seeing the other in
You're
my head.
right. The armpit hair in the cheer with the cheerleaders.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if it's just because it's a single location shoot and the wig, it works. Oh, so good.
I don't remember
But
seeing Weird Al a lot when I would watch the music videos. I don't know if you got that standard
see,
rotations.
I don't think
I
so.
come from a family of of wannabe comedians, so Weird Al is absolutely like one of the probably in the first. I'll tell you my earliest 3 musical influences. I can name them right now: the Beatles, the Chipmunks, and Weird Al. That's the music that my parents I would listen to like as a little kid. And it wasn't until like middle school that I started to kind of be aware of more popular music. I was definitely a fan. At least out here in Southern California, we had a station called K Earth 101, which was just all oldies music, you know, music from the late 50s and early 60s.
K
And
Earth 101.
now they play 80s music and stuff. It's not quite what it used to be, but they would play any sort of Frank Sinatra or doo-wop music. Like that was, I never really listened to music of the time until, I don't know, literally like 97 or 98 was when I was finally listening to actual music.
Same, but
That's just me though.
what about you, Gary? The first music video from the TRL VH1 days that you remember?
You know, for some reason, Pearl Jam's Jeremy jumped into my head. I don't know why. I think that's probably
real uplifting.
Yeah, seriously. That's probably the first one that I can remember liking. My sister, who's a lot older than me, like much bigger gap than most siblings, was a huge Pearl Jam fan, and she tried very hard to and succeeded with the album 10. Maybe not beyond that to make me a Pearl Jam fan, and that really worked. But I didn't understand the video when I first was watching it, and I didn't understand really the content of that song. But that's the first one that jumps to mind. Did you guys ever watch? This is a little later in my life, probably more end of high school, early college. You guys ever know the channel MTV Hits?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not sure if I do. I know they broke off into like 1,000 different channels at a certain point.
So MTV Hits was just all day music videos, all day long, with no real commentary, no like host or anything. It was just like straight music video. I mean, with commercials, but it would just be like 4 music videos in a row, block of commercials, 4 more music videos, and it would be like that all day long. It was the greatest.
No, I liked the VJs though.
No, I didn't mind the VJs, and that was its own thing. But it was, you know, especially TRL. It was like for several weeks you were guaranteed to see 3 of the same videos in a row, and MTV Hits would go into the much deeper cuts, which I liked.
It really was just, you just turn it on and it's just instant nostalgia for all the stuff you used to watch as a kid. As far as the music videos go, the first thing that comes to my head is Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way, just because it got played endlessly. It was you were always guaranteed to see it within the hour block of watching MTV for felt like a year. And then of course Hanson, Where's the Love? I got into him right after Bop. I would remember watching it. Just come on, play Bop again. But they're promoting a new single, so they never really got to play Bop as much.
Similarly to the fact that you could guarantee yourself to see Backstreet Boys like that. This is a little bit more localized and taking it out of the video area. But in LA, there was about a year and a half where the rap station out here, Power 106, which is still a station, very popular. Big Boy was on it, who's gotten famous beyond LA. They used to do a thing called Top 4 at 4, where they would play their 4 most requested songs. And there was about a year and a half where the number 1 song, which inevitably would come at exactly 4:20, was Because I Got High by Afro Man. And it was just so funny that I think that it was mostly the joke of the fact that it was happening at 4:20 that kept it in the rotation long past when that song was culturally like relevant. But it was very funny that you just knew for sure if you hit Power 106 at 4:20 any afternoon, it was going to be Because I Got High by Afro Man.
Yeah, that's satisfying.
Yeah,
to know that you turn on Power 106 at 4:20 Because I Got High.
And it makes me think, what were the bands that you guys listened to when you were little that were kind of like mind-blowingly inappropriate for your age of listening to it?
The presidents of the United States of America.
I have one. And not only was it inappropriate, Matt, well, at least for what I was, for when I was listening to them, but there's a band called the Bloodhound Gang.
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
You and me, baby, are nothing but mammals.
Yeah.
Let's do it like we do in the Discovery Channel. But
say it again now.
Yeah, exactly. But if you look at their CD, this was their CD, right? And on it, if you look
oh my
close
God, I
up,
never noticed.
on it, it says you're supposed to stick your tongue or something through the hole to where it would look like a nipple, and the thing would be a boobie.
I don't think I ever
And
noticed
it was
that.
called Hooray for Boobies, and it would look like an actual nipple coming through. And I thought, as a young Chris Loxamana, very innocent,
Yeah.
this is racy. This is pretty crazy. So that's what I remember. If you're talking about inappropriate, it was the
Yeah.
Bloodhound Gang. It says, yeah, the CD says, attention, insert tongue in circular opening to simulate nipple.
That's what she said.
To simulate.
And that was the Bloodhound Gang.
Nice.
Hooray for boobies.
So back in the day when my family would drive to a little town called Mammoth, maybe I've brought that up before on this show.
I've heard about Mammoth, sure.
Gone there a couple times with my family. But back in the day, one of the greatest treats was the sort of weeks leading up to the trip, because my parents would let me buy a couple CDs for the car ride up. And, you know, I'd be sitting in, it's like a 6-hour car drive from LA to Mammoth. And so I would sit in the back seat with my CD Walkman and my headphones on. And my parents are very open. They didn't really care what I listened to. And I listened to stuff like Sublime, where he would just drop the F-bomb and say shit all the time. And it was kind of crazy. And my parents didn't know what I was listening to. But the one time that,
Joints.
yeah, exactly, all that stuff. But I'm listening to Blink 182, Enema of the State, which my parents just should have known. Speaking of album covers, you know, notoriously the sexy nurse or whatever on it. My parents should have known. But the song What's My Age Again, I'm listening to it with headphones on. I've probably heard the song a million times at this point. But while we're driving to Mammoth, at a certain point, I just take my headphones out and I lean forward to my parents and I go, "What's sodomy?" And my parents are like, "What are you listening to?" And I mean, and you don't know the words to the song. There's a line of the song where they say that word.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised because the line is, and they look down on sodomy. And
Yep.
I always thought it was inside of me, so it never bothered me. But you actually were able to pull out the word sodomy. The state looks down on sodomy.
I couldn't figure it out.
What's my age again? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's my answer for the question.
Great album.
Well,
Great
yeah,
album.
you got
It is a
Janine
great
on the album. I will tell you this is my favorite album of all time.
It's definitely up
Really?
there for me.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah.
this,
I feel like this is where the three of us, the Chi Three, this is where our musical tastes all really kind of collide, I feel like.
and it is strictly just a nostalgic bias thing. I mean, obviously it's not the most brilliant album ever created, but this was the album that showed me, one, rock music, really. I never really listened to rock before that. I know it's pop punk rock, it's poppy, whatever, but it showed me just that it's a trio, and they were able to produce such a big sound, but it really showed me what melody was, because they were simple and it was catchy. Every song was a hook. I could name the entire album off the top of my head. I could play you the album off the top of my head on a guitar, because this inspired me to actually pick up a guitar. I would put this CD on, and I would take my couch cushion and I would just air guitar to it for years. Just like, man, this is so cool. This is great. Begging my mom for guitar lessons. Like, look, I really want to do this. She's like, no, you don't. This is a phase. Please, you gotta let me try to play guitar. I gotta play this music. This is what I was meant to play. This is what I gotta do. No. And then eventually I wore her down. Fine, I'll rent you a guitar. And so we rented a guitar from Mars Music, and I would play that nonstop, and I was obsessed with it. And it was all because of that album, Enema of the State, and all of my songwriting, guitar playing. It was just all rooted to that album.
And then 3 weeks later, you said, "Mom, can I borrow your flat iron?"
Yeah, that's right.
No, Chris, I agree with Chris. That album is up there as one of the most iconic for me. And, you know, I agree with everything you said. Not the best, not the most prolific album in the world, but just hit me at the right time. And first concert I went to was Blink 182. And up until at least my early 20s, that was the band I had seen the most times live in concert. I would have to go back and count, but more times than I have fingers on one hand for sure.
Which concert did you go to?
the one that sticks out most to me in my mind was at UC Irvine. I went to one in Long Beach. I saw them at least one festival. I'd have to go back. I have all this stuff in my childhood home, but I'd have to go back and look through it.
The reason I asked is that was my first concert. Was Blink-182, and it was not the Mark, Tom, and Travis show. It was the one after that where they're promoting "Take Off Your Pants and Jacket," and they had the big F word sign right behind them in fire, and it was Long Beach, and it was what year was it? It was, when did "Take Off Your Pants and Jacket" happen?
Unless they played more than one show, we were at the same show. And I think we've talked about this off the air before, but I was definitely at one of the Long Beach shows. And I believe it was for that album. And
oh God, this is embarrassing. I know exactly what year it was because it was, I remember it was right after 9/11. So it was the lineup, Matt, you're going to love this if you love pop punk, Gary too. The lineup was Sum 41, Newfound Glory, and Blink-182, which were like the trifecta of pop punk minus Green Day. If you were into pop punk, which I totally was back then, because of Blink-182. And I remember 9/11 happened, so they postpone it, or something happens where a couple of the opening bands dropped out. So it was like a band called Midtown that opened for them, and I think Newfound Glory still played, but it was all kind of out of whack. But that was my first concert. My mom drove me to it, and they had a special room for parents to hang out in. So my mom drove me, and she hung out in the room with all the parents, just watching on the screen as this big fuck, the word fuck, just lights up behind the band. like, Mom, this is a good band. They're fun. They're really cool. She's like, okay. So she goes, she sits in a room with the TVs with all the other parents, and they're just watching these three guys with the guitar, like they just strum their first chord, and the word fuck just lights up behind them. They're like, what's up, motherfuckers? Let's go. And my mom's like, where am I? What is Chris doing?
So amazing.
I can't believe that they had like a special parent room.
Yeah.
That's so funny to me. Oh my God. That's great.
I believe that's pretty funny to them too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You
just right as the fuck sign lights up, you just hear all the doors in the room, the electronic doors just lock. All the parents are like, what?
What are we doing?
But another thing about Blink, since we're talking about this music, which I'm sure Dawson has a lot of thoughts on, but unfortunately,
he loves Blink-182. He always talks about them.
Gary mentions that I have a very large friend group, and at school, and the reason being is Blink-182. We all loved Blink-182, and we would all go to each other's houses and listen to them. We'd all learn guitar to play Blink songs, and the reason that we all became friends was because we all liked Blink-182, and we are still best friends to this day. So it's like, yeah, that is why it is my favorite album. It changed my life.
Love it.
Enema.
I've got a good transition here for we can keep talking about music, of course. But...
Well, we got Sodomy. We talked about Enemas. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we covered it all.
Okay, good. Well, which guy from Blink-182 is super into like UFO stuff?
Tom DeLonge.
Tom.
There you go. That's the transition right there. Because before these mics heated up, you mentioned the NASA T-shirt that I'm wearing today.
That's right.
Now you say the name of the space agency like the
I always
county
say it
in
weird.
New York. You say it like the county in New York, Nassau.
Yeah, I do say it wrong. How are you supposed to say it?
NASA.
Yeah.
NASA.
Better. There you go.
NASA.
Yeah. NASA, not Nassau. All right.
Yes.
I'll work on it.
So what about Nassau?
I'll fly my helicopter to
Whoa.
Nassau.
Wow.
Yeah, say that sentence. Say that sentence right now. I will fly
I
my
just
helicopter.
did, you fucking asshole. You
NASA.
rewind the tape if you want to.
No,
you said it.
laughing.
You said the space agency the wrong way.
Yeah.
I still said it wrong. God damn it.
You got the transportation portion correct.
I'll fly my helicopter to NASA. How's that?
Not
Best we're gonna get.
All right. It was all right.
That's
I
close
appreciate
to
that.
get.
Yeah.
That is as close as it's gonna get.
You saying NASA looks like you're in pain.
It
You say it like you're sneezing.
Yeah, you had it. You just bailed at the
I just
very end.
overthought. I just overthought it. I overthought it.
Look, it's okay. I pronounce almost every word incorrectly, so I'm with you.
Did you guys? We talked a while ago on this show. Somebody recommended a Netflix show that was like, I can't remember the name of it now, but it was like the countdown. It was about the final days leading up to a big event.
Oh, 7 days.
There
7
you go.
days out.
7 days out.
I think
they did one that was about NASA.
That's right.
NASA.
Yeah.
Why am I having such a hard time saying that?
I don't know.
As a kid, when I was growing up, I wanted to be an astronaut so badly.
Really?
That was, oh my God, I loved space stuff. I thought that was so cool. And then I realized that you had to like be physically fit and do a lot of things that I'm not prepared to do.
It's like, then I realized
sacrifices I'm not willing to make. You know, I'm all for the exploring.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be the navigator, but do I really have to be in a motion simulator? No way. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Not for me. So I always like to follow the space stuff, and I thought the SpaceX launch was pretty fucking cool.
Mhm.
And Gary and I both had the pleasure of going to the SpaceX facilities. SpaceX, by the way, way easier to say, much easier to pronounce. So I feel like, there you go. Gary's putting on the Occupy
SpaceX.
Mars hat.
SpaceX, very
I think for a show and tell, I showed you guys a cup that I got in the cafeteria.
I think you showed us the hat too, no?
Right now. I think I did both. So they showed all these amazing videos of the most recent SpaceX launch connecting with the International Space Station. But as with everything, it's a giant conspiracy, according to a portion of the internet. And I'm sure all of us, especially in the last couple of weeks, have gotten a little bit used to seeing videos that maybe they didn't start the video where they were supposed to. They don't show you the whole video. I'm getting like video overexposure. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Okay.
Now, we do on this show a series, a segment called the News Nook.
Of course.
Which is,
goody.
Of course, sort of an Alex Jones-esque segment. Gary's doing the lean back.
Gary Glasses make another appearance.
Gary Glasses. I love the idea that the SpaceX mission was a complete success. I saw a video on the internet that seemed to suggest that when you're looking at the rocket booster footage of the SpaceX rocket, there's a mouse on the engine while it's in outer space. Now, obviously, if this is in outer space, how the fuck is there a mouse on the engine?
Right.
So I'm going to show you guys the same fucking video that I saw because, again, I'm not into this kind of stuff, but I saw this fucking video and I don't understand it. I believe that the SpaceX mission was something that actually happened. Somebody has to allow me to share the screen.
Yeah, I was just signaling that to Chris, or trying.
My bad. Zoom,
That's all good.
It's all right.
Security measures.
Now, again, I'm prefacing all of this with videos on the internet are trash. You don't know what you're looking at. This is part of the problem.
But please go watch this on the internet.
I was just going to say, but yeah, perfect segue
Chris,
into please watch this on YouTube.
You can find it too. If you want, I can tell you the phrase. You can Google it. It's easier.
Wait, can you still not share your screen?
Oh, there we go. No, I can do it.
Oh.
I can do it now. All right. I'm sharing the sound too.
Oh, all right. Do it.
Well, I don't know if this is the same one. Whatever.
Astronaut mouse on SpaceX.
Maybe Mighty Mouse. Again, look, see for yourself, man. This is a dude.
Burn.
Okay, we're looking at the...
now, it's kind of on the rim.
That second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit.
I don't care what you say, that is a mouse.
It's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44 seconds.
Oh, I see it.
See that?
Flight. So
I'll click it back a minute.
Yeah, click it back. I missed it.
Chris, it's just above where the fuel is burning.
Now,
right?
again, I'm going to say what I believe it probably is like a piece of debris. It's probably like a piece of space debris that's come off from one of the foil things. And it's just the way the camera's moving, it looks like a mouse crawling. But look.
Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit.
I don't care what you say, that is a mouse.
Oh my God.
Well, what I will say is that the guy who's commenting on the video sounds like he is a well-established Rhodes Scholar. And
He is
how we cannot listen to him.
absolutely. I don't care what you say. Listen, he's obviously an expert because he prefaced it with that. But listen, you guys just saw what I saw, and I don't know. Like I said, this is all part of the news nook. Okay, this is not. I don't typically live my life in conspiracy land, and I'm very pro space.
Right.
I know people.
Matt is pro. I think can we all say we're pro space?
Well, like I believe that we have landed on the moon before. A lot of people don't believe that. They think it's a big conspiracy. I'm not one of those people, and I have been to SpaceX. I've seen those gigantic rocket boosters, and it was one of the most breathtaking, amazing things I've ever seen. So I believe wholeheartedly that the mission was a success, but I also just saw a mouse on a space rocket booster, and you guys saw that too. What do you guys think about that?
It moves very much like a mouse. Just the motion, which is
again, the implication being that this would have to then be something on a movie set or some sort of I mean, it's all part of a live stream. That's where that footage was taken from. So I don't really know what that is.
I don't know. Here's what I would say is, having seen SpaceX and their facility, if you were going to fake this, you would just bring cameras into the SpaceX facility and do it there, right? You wouldn't transport this shit across town and go to a soundstage. That just wouldn't make sense. People would see you doing it, right? I guarantee that the floor of SpaceX is a cleaner surface than any plate in my house. It is immaculate in there. So the idea that there is a rodent that got into that area
very
is just
true as well.
Absolutely impossible for me to believe, because Matt will attest that facility is as clean as any hospital you've ever been to. Clean,
do they make you take your shoes off at the front?
They didn't, but we didn't go into like the hermetically sealed portions of it. Like there's kind of the Gen Pop, and then there's the solitary confinement, for lack of a better term. Like there's the clean rooms with glass that you can see into from the portions that we walked through.
Sure.
But there's different sections. And I would assume you would do it, all the big portions, the finished portions of the assembled rockets were in the clean room, for lack of a better term. And I just find it impossible to think that a rodent that size, a spider, maybe, a mouse, oh, I don't know about that. But, who am I to question the News Nook?
I found a GIF. Look at this thing. Look at it.
I said the shot from two alternate sides makes it difficult to follow exactly what's going on.
Well, I do have the answer, Matt. If you
do you Google it further?
It has
snoped
been,
it.
It has been
snoped out.
Yes, I snoped it, or in this case, I metabunked it. But what that is?
Wait,
Matt,
who's running Metabunk? I don't know if I believe this source. I haven't heard him say in a certain tone of voice, I don't care what you've seen, that's a mouse. So I don't know.
That's true.
What source are you really coming from?
Obviously not nearly as credible of a source as your video.
As the News Nook.
I called it Mighty Mouse. Maybe Mighty Mouse?
Maybe Mighty Mouse, question mark?
Obviously not as
I think like 80,000 people have seen that one, by the way. So continue, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But this says that some people think it's ice. But what it is, it's actually solid oxygen. See, the white jet is venting liquid oxygen, which is what causes the buildup of solid oxygen, and what the oxygen does not just boil off into space. So whatever's left, it just freezes and becomes solid oxygen.
Well, you know what? I don't care what the internet says. There's no such thing as solid oxygen.
That's true.
I've never seen it. I
haven't seen it either.
Look it up.
If it was solid, how could you breathe it?
Yeah,
Chris?
could I eat it? So that's what it's saying. Metabunk. More like mega bunk.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Mega suck. Come on.
Mega suck. Well, thank you for that conspiracy, Matt, and the News Nook.
I believe that the tagline was "Facts don't mean shit" here. I was trying to remember it, and that just popped into my head.
It very much could be it. All right, before we get out of here, Gary, we kind of got into it last week, but I just want to hear about your trip from Idaho, or your trip to Idaho, excuse me, last week, just because you got out of California.
I did.
And we're all jealous. What happened?
Yeah, man. It was, I don't know, man. I flew to Wyoming. I flew to Denver and then to Wyoming. And I'm blowing up my own spot. I saw my mother this week and she was complimenting me on how I just said I was not in California, but here I am just blowing the whole thing.
Oh.
Flew to Denver, laid over there for a while, and then flew to Wyoming. And then we drove into Idaho, which is, Jackson Hole, Wyoming is very close to Idaho. So it was only about a half hour. And I spent the weekend at a resort there. It was a little hard to explain, but it was kind of a work trip. And I don't know, man, it was glorious. The restaurants are open. There's a handful of people wearing masks. I'd say like 1 in every 20 people you see was wearing masks. But aside from those people and one single business I saw that was operating in an unusual way, there was no difference. I mean, it was great. The one thing that I didn't expect that I think is very smart is that at every establishment that we went to, there was no menus. Instead, what you saw were those little pop-up tent things on the table that usually tell you the specials or what day. And they just had a QR code, and the menu is your cell phone. You just pull up the menu on your phone. Everyone just touches. And I thought that was brilliant. It had never occurred to me. Awesome. In California, we've been talking about paper menus that they're going to throw away, which is such a waste.
Yeah.
Just they put a QR code there. You open up your camera, you throw it up. That takes you to the website, and you just look at the menu yourself on your phone, which all of us do before you go to a restaurant anyways. So what's the problem with that? It was great.
I do question, because remember, they tried to do that with iPads. You got Stacked, that burger place where you order everything on the iPad and you slide everything. But there is the age gap difference, or just like older people. And I don't think they'd be able to just scan their, we got a QR code here and just and snap it.
Well, you're right.
It'd be better for them though, because they could use the pinch and zoom to make the font bigger. And stuff,
and especially in dark restaurants, it's illuminated. Yes. I mean, I see a lot of pros here, but I just don't know.
I think you're both right.
On right away.
I think you're both right, because I was traveling with one guy my own age, and then pretty much everyone else that was. I was traveling with 2 people. One guy our age, one guy who's just turned 50, and then the people we were meeting up with were a little bit older as well. And we had to explain to them, but the learning curve is not that great. Apple devices at the very least have changed it so that if you just open your camera and put a QR code in there, you'll get a little drop down at the top, like when you get a text message, that just shows you have a new alert. If you have a QR code in your camera, it'll just drop down and say, go to the website associated with the QR code. So it used to be you had to have a special QR app, whatever, but they've built it all in. So I think that it'll be an easy learning curve, because they'll just train all of the waiters and waitresses to sort of explain that to people. And I think we're going to get comfortable with it. I don't know if we're going back to menus. I mean, maybe in certain higher end restaurants, but I think that for your more middle of the road stuff, this is going to be what we're doing. And but my trip was great. It was a business trip, but it obviously I hit you guys up from a golf course, so there was a little bit of fun built in as well. And I don't know, it was very refreshing to get out of quarantine and get to a place that was treating this a little less stringently.
Yeah,
but it was hard to come back because everything did seem so normal, and it just, the fear was not as rampant, rightfully so. If you look at the numbers between California and Idaho, or, Wyoming, there's certainly a bigger problem here. There's no doubt about that. And we should be acting differently than they are. But I don't know. This was one thing in March, and then it was another thing in April, and we're in June, and I'm getting tired of it. So to have a weekend where it just didn't seem like this was really a thing was really nice while I was there, and it was a tough adjustment to come back.
Right.
But it was also a tough weekend to do it because when I left last Friday morning, everything was pretty normal. There was coronavirus and everything, and by the time I landed, LA was on fire.
Literally.
And
Yeah.
literally. And so it was that whole Sunday, that travel Sunday back. It was one thing when we woke up Sunday morning, certain things were a little tumultuous, and then we landed in Denver for our layover and it was worse. And then we landed in LA and it was way worse. And it was just it was a wild weekend, but what are you gonna do?
I know. And the days
I
just
have an important question.
sure.
Yeah.
Did you have any potato-based dishes while you were in Idaho?
Interesting. That's right there on Chris's rundown.
Rank
Yes, I did.
potatoes.
Yes, I did. I had a garlic mashed potato, which was
Great.
delightful.
Okay.
And I believe I also had a baked potato.
Fantastic.
Good choice. Another
I had a weird
excellent
thing.
decision of preparation.
The first meal that we got picked up at the airport by one of our hosts. So it was me and the guys I was traveling with. So it was a total of 4 people in the car on the way out of the airport. And one of the first things we did was stop at a restaurant to eat, which was crazy because it was, okay, now you're in this new place. And then, you guys want to go to a restaurant?
Whoa.
All the California guys were like, oh,
Hell yeah.
hell yes, let's go. So we went to this restaurant. I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys before, but we sat down and everyone pulled up the menu on their phones. And we all looked at it and everyone sort of said what they were going to get, kind of, I don't know, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, whatever. I was the last one to order. And by the time it got to me, everyone had modified their order and copied the person before them. And I felt this immense pressure that I could not be the 4th guy that just went with what he had initially said. So
Yeah.
I was peer pressured into it. I got that half slab of baby back ribs. It was delicious. I don't regret a thing, but
Funny.
I was very much looking at a sandwich, and every single person before me got baby back ribs, and I did too, and they were delicious.
Nice.
It is kind of fun. Like if everybody's ordering it, yeah. Let's just all
We're in
do
this
it.
together. It's a team.
That's fun. Yeah.
It'll be an experience we can all talk about together.
Exactly. We were talking about the menus too, and how like older people can pick up on it. I remember it reminded me of this time when, and I'm totally gonna name drop here because I have to. But when I flew to France with Norm and Adam and August, and Norm's wife Mary the Burner
Listen
Turner.
to this guy name dropping Mike August.
Well, we get to the airport because we flew private to France, and yeah.
I think that was the name drop right there.
Yeah, seriously.
And,
Hashtag humble brag.
Yeah, and we just go into this waiting area, and it's just us and Usher, the
Ursha Raymond?
You
Usher
mean
Raymond.
co-star of the hit film Hustlers?
That's
Usher?
right. Yeah, from Usher from the hit film Hustlers.
That is what he's most known for, right?
Right. Of
That
course.
must be.
Oh, another music
He
video.
played
guy.
himself.
Yeah, You Make Me Wanna and My Way and all those music videos back in the day. His
How
music
about
videos are really fun.
Confessions?
Yeah,
He made Dancing with a Hat. Whoever danced with a hat before?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. Hold on one second. I'm gonna screen sharing still
Michael
enabled.
Jackson.
Oh yeah,
Michael Jackson definitely danced with a hat. There's been a lot of people who've danced with a hat, but
yeah. Backstreet Boys
he was
did.
he was the guy to really do it. I think iconically, at least for the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The picture's not
Gary,
big
get
enough
your
to.
light fixed, bro.
I know.
Yeah.
The suction cup came off. The
Well,
picture's
anyway-
not big enough, but one of my Facebook photos is the iconic denim Atlanta Braves hat that Usher wore in the Yeah video that I definitely still have.
Nice.
Oh, well, Usher was at the airport, and it was the night of Game 7 of the NBA Finals, where it was the Cavs versus the Warriors, and obviously this was when the Warriors had the 3-1 lead, and obviously, but so Usher's there, and he comes up, he talks, he introduces himself to everybody. He just walks up to us and starts, "Hey, how's it going? What's your name?" Chris. "Hey, I'm Usher." Like, I know that.
Wow.
Yes,
We know
thank
that.
you. Thank you, sir.
Baller.
Yeah. But yeah, super nice guy. and he's just talking because he had a part ownership of the Cavs, so he was gonna go. He's flying out to watch the game, which was just about to start. So he was gonna land like in the probably the fourth quarter or something. It wasn't just about to start. I think it already just started. So it was weird that he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go fly out and watch the game." So like, you're just gonna get there at the end of the game, which the Cavs won, and there are pictures of him celebrating with the Cavs. So he flew in, got into Oracle, and then was just partying with everybody for the victory. But anyway, Mary the Burner Turner, Norm's wife, was trying to watch the game on her iPad and couldn't figure out how to get the Wi-Fi working. And she's just having trouble. And Usher walks over. "Hey, what's going on?" "Oh, you need to connect to the Wi-Fi." And Usher takes her iPad and is teaching her how to connect to the Wi-Fi on her iPad and like how to get the apps working and everything. And I was like, what am I watching right now?
Gotta be one of the most surreal moments of
It was
your life.
awesome. And I think that's what's going to happen with the QR codes. Usher is just going to
That's
go around
good.
helping everybody
That's
get
good.
down with the menus. So
Hey guys, I'm Usher, co-star of the film Hustlers.
the future film Hustlers.
No, you have to
Oh,
set
now
your
with-
Wi-Fi signal.
With the QR codes, yeah. Oh, you're gonna have to disconnect to your current Wi-Fi and
Yeah.
close some of these apps and we'll get going. But yeah, really nice guy. All right, well,
Wow.
I think do you guys mind if we push show and tell to next week?
Yeah, sure.
Unless
No, I think that's a team game, so I think we probably should,
Yeah.
in deference to our friends who aren't here. I mean, I was 4 states away and I Skyped in for show and tell. So
True. Yeah. Obviously, not obviously, but Dawson and Caelan are not here. They got stuff going on right now, but no big deal. We'll get to it. They'll be back on next week. And I had a good
We're
show.
doing twice as many shows now, for Christ's sake.
That's
hey,
right.
speaking of show and tell, if you go back to last week's Friday episode and look very carefully, you can probably see someone who I had the courtesy not to name drop in the background of my show and tell.
Oh,
And if anyone figures it out, I'll retweet it.
the courtesy of someone not to name drop. So you're just calling me out because I name dropped Mike August?
Yeah, exactly. You name dropped the Stone Pelican. I decided not to name drop someone who's marginally less famous than him.
Fair enough. All right, well, let's get our plugs in then. So let's start off with Gary. Where can we go for you, my friend?
Ooh, we don't usually start with me. All right, Reasonable Doubt. We dropped a special bonus episode this week on Wednesday or something. Go check that out. And tomorrow, I assume we're dropping this on Friday. Tomorrow morning, there will be a new Reasonable Doubt. And I truthfully believe that if the conversation that he and Mark had was to have been had on the Adam Carolla show, we could just close the Ace Awards for Rant of the Year. It was that epic. So don't miss that, man. It's awesome.
I would love to hear it. I won't miss it. All right, and follow Gary at G. Patrick Smith. Matt, what about you?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Matt Fondiler. And I'll just say, in lieu of any other plug, if you are looking for a source of brightness and laughter in these troubling times, I highly suggest the series Somebody Feed Phil, which is now back on Netflix. It just came back for season 3. And the first episode was so goddamn funny and so delightful. And he is just a shining beacon of positivity, Phil Rosenthal.
Absolutely.
And it's one of those shows that I just need to preserve. I want so badly to watch all of the episodes, but I'm sort of trying to make a point to spread it out a little bit, because I mean, if you've never seen the show, you are in luck that you've got 20 episodes to enjoy. But if you're like me or these guys who've seen the other episodes, they're so funny and they're so much fun. You know, Anthony Bourdain, R.I.P. I feel like Phil picked up the legacy where that sort of enjoyable travelogue show left off. So that's my other plug.
What city or place was the first episode? Or is that going to step on anything?
No. Do you remember what was the first episode of Somebody Feed Phil?
I love this show so much.
What was it? Marrakesh.
Oh, okay. I can see why.
It's a city in like northern Africa, in Morocco, where they kind of speak French and a bunch of other languages. It's I mean,
Oh,
I
wow.
don't even want to ruin it, but there are just so many like Phil moments in it.
I'll
It's
watch it
just
tonight.
so good.
Yeah,
So good.
I love Phil Rosenthal. He really is just a genuine
Yeah, he's the best.
positivity, as you said. So I
Yeah,
agree.
exactly.
Somebody feed Phil. I totally thought you were plugging Sword and Scale the way you were. I know you guys need some
That
like
would have been really
light
funny.
and positivity, but you should check out this true crime murder podcast.
Delightful show. No,
You're
I've done that.
worrying me
I've done
there.
that plenty. I've done that plenty.
And then as for me, I will just suggest please share this show with people. Send them the YouTube link, the podcast link, whatever. Just once again, we're trying to also be a shining beacon of positivity, and we love everybody who listens, and we appreciate it. And yeah, I know there's a lot going on, and we're here. We will continue doing shows, and we just we thank you for listening and taking the time, and we hope that we are, as Matt said, or as I said, just a positive part of your life as well. So thank you for listening. Please share the show, and we'll see you next week. Boba Boys out.